Hi everyone, thanks for joining. I'm Tovah Fenske. Today's yin practice is going to be really slow, really relaxing, perfect for those nights that you come home from work and it's been a really long day, or a weekend that you don't really feel like exercising or doing yoga, but you know you should. You're kind of feeling lazy and you just want to curl up under the covers. Well, get into something really comfortable, practice with me for a little bit, and then you can Netflix and chill the rest of the day. Let's get on our mats. So come onto your mat and get into this lying position. So with your knees bent, take your feet about shoulder width or maybe a little wider, and then let your knees rest together in the center. And just adjust your feet so that you're comfortable here. Just relaxing your arms, starting to tune into your breathing. Let your mind melt here. And as we rest in this position, we're really releasing all the tension from our psoas, one of our deep hip flexing muscles. So this can feel really different for every different body. For some people, they feel a real release. For other people, it might feel like nothing's really happening. And neither of those are better or right. It just feels a little bit different depending on what's happening in your body. But you're not going to feel like you're in a really strong stretch, because this pose is all about relaxation. And today that's what we're in the mood for. Relaxation, kind of having a lazy yoga practice, if you will. But still doing some really great work for our body and of course for our minds. Tuning out any noise that might be happening around you. If you notice that your mind is kind of wandering a little bit, find one focal point, something that you can concentrate your thoughts on. To help make your mind more one-pointed or more still. And even if there's days that you really just can't muster up getting onto your mat and doing a practice, just find some time to sit or lie comfortably. Could be on your yoga mat, could be on your bed, could be seated in a chair. And just try to spend at least 5 minutes sitting and breathing. If nothing else, let that be your yoga practice for the day. Perfect. We're slowly going to sit up from here. Either come on and sit right up, or roll over to your side and get up. And then we're going to move into this really wide diamond seated position. So we're not moving into bound angle where we bring our feet way up close to our groin. We want to stretch it out further. So you're coming into a diamond position. Legs are a little bit longer. Sit up nice and high on your sitting bones, and of course you could always tuck a cushion underneath your bum just to give you a little bit more of a lift here. And even for those that are pretty good at forward folds, adding a little cushion or a little lift sometimes can just help you maybe go a little bit deeper into the posture. So as we get into this stretched out position, let yourself relax as you bring your chin down and then fold as far forward as feels comfortable for you without overdoing it here. So especially in yin, and this can be particularly more challenging for those real AAA type personalities where you're always striving for perfection, you're always on the go, your life is very fast paced, and maybe it's really hard for you to relax, and probably yin yoga in general is really hard for you. But take this opportunity to just ease into the posture, not feeling like you need to be at a specific place, not pushing yourself to go too hard. And if you feel like you can't stay in the position, that's a sign that you're in a little bit too deep. So back off a little bit. You can always set a pillow or a bolster down in your lap if you want to rest your head there. Turning inward as you just let yourself mellow here. Making sure with your forward folds that you don't want to feel any pain in through your lower back. So if you are feeling some pain in your back here, come up, don't fold so far down. And you can also option to not let your back round. So if rounding your back causes you some pain, keep your back more straight. Just drop your chin and only fold as far as you can go, but still keeping your spine neutral. Okay, and that would be more for people who are maybe dealing with a little bit of an injury to your back currently. Staying here for just a few more breaths. Maybe with each exhale, if you feel like there's room in your body and your body is wanting, is asking to go just a little bit deeper. Sink in just a little farther. Perfect, and then come on back up to seated tall. Bringing your knees to close. Maybe just taking a little gentle lean back as you open your heart, lift your chest here. Perfect, and we can come off that seat or that cushion if you're using one, and just put it to the side. As we make our way into puppy stretch here, so we were leaning forward, we're now going to kind of do the opposite and open up through our chest and shoulders and work on maintaining the little bit of lumbar curve that our back naturally has, or should naturally have. So starting in this kneeling position with your hips stacked over top of your knees, you're going to walk your hands forward, and your aim is to melt your chest towards the floor, bringing your forehead down. And if your head doesn't easily reach here, you can definitely tuck a cushion or a block underneath it. And if that variation of puppy feels too intense for your body, you're gonna walk your hands back a little further, bring your elbows down, and maybe it's more like the crown of your head that's gonna touch the mat instead of your forehead. And you can shift as far back as you need to, potentially coming all the way and going into resting child's pose, if that's where your body needs to be today. So listen to your body here, finding just the right amount of stretch for you. Your hands can be flat. You might enjoy turning your thumbs to the roof, especially if your shoulders are a little bit tight. You might like your hands in prayer position. You can really kind of activate and stretch the arms out a little more, or you can let them be a little more bent and a little more relaxed. As we let our heart melt down here. not only are we opening the chest and shoulders in this position, but we're also helping to maintain the lower lumbar curve. So that little curvature that's right at the base of your back or around where your waistband would be, we need and we want that curve to be there on our spine. So we don't want it to be over exaggerated because that's not great, but there should be a natural curve there. So if you hear or talked about the S curve in our spine, that's part of the S curve is in our lower back. And with age, that S curve will naturally start to try to flatten out. And so this is a great posture to help maintain that lower lumbar curve, which helps maintain your spinal health. Taking our last few deep breaths here. Good, and let's come on ahead onto our stomach. Come all the way down. And just resting with your forehead on your hands or on your mat for the next couple of breaths. Let your body go like you're just melting into the floor, and if that means just wiggling or moving just a little bit to let go of any tension, relax your buttocks, and then let yourself find some stillness. Good, and from here we're just going to come up onto our elbows. Just taking a nice little easy sphinx. And I want you to just gently press up with your right hand. So straightening your right arm, just taking a tiny twist here. Maybe looking up to the roof. Take a couple of deep breaths. Good, and let yourself come all the way back down to flat. And then come back onto your elbows, straightening the opposite arm. Maybe looking to the roof. Making sure that both hips stay on the ground here, so we're not rolling sideways. Go ahead and come back down, coming back to flat. Now bringing our hands back up underneath our shoulders, and we're just going to press up to downward facing dog. Feel free to pedal your feet or move your hips around a few times here. And then we're moving into 90-90 stretch. So lift your right leg up, and you're going to bring your right knee forward like you're moving into pigeon, where your right knee is near your right wrist. But then you're just going to sneak your back leg in a little bit and let your bum come down to the floor. So you're looking to have about a 90-degree bend with your front leg. So your foot or your leg is going to go across like the top of your mat and then down to your hip. And the back leg is going to aim to be about parallel with the side of your mat. Good. So in this position, you can always decide to tuck a little cushion underneath your butt cheek if you like. Sitting up nice and tall. And then you fold forward any amount here. Now, if this is feeling like it's a pretty big struggle for you, you can stay over closer to your knee, so fold in that direction. As you start to get a little deeper in the stretch, you're more folding to the front, or potentially more towards the side of your foot. Okay, and this might also mean that we're just staying straight up and sitting here because this is all the stretch that our body wants to take today. So finding that place for you. That could mean using a cushion to bring your elbows down on. Relax your head and neck. And just find that place of your gentle edge. And you can always just tiptoe back from that edge a little bit. Not getting too overzealous here. This is a nice, gentle hip opener and can be a great option for anyone who maybe sometimes does pigeon and it's maybe a little bit too challenging for you. You could come into 90-90, but even for those who are quite good at pigeon, you can make this more difficult by walking yourself closer towards your feet. You can also make it a little more challenging by sliding the back leg a little further back. Okay, so the closer your back knee is to your top foot, the easier it is. As you start to walk that leg back a little bit more, that's going to open up your hip even more as we think about turning towards the front. Good, you're going to stay in this 90-90 position, or you're just going to roll over, slide the leg back, and drop into regular pigeon for the last few breaths. So you decide where your body wants to go. Does it want to stay, or does it want to move to regular pigeon? Taking one last big deep breath here. And then if you're in regular pigeon, you're just gonna let your bum come to the side, kind of coming back to that 90-90 position. And then you can just draw your legs up. Maybe give yourself a little hug, a little squeeze here. And then take the legs the opposite way. So front leg is looking to be parallel or straight with the front of the mat, but don't force it here. If your body doesn't quite go into 90 degrees, that's fine. And then your back leg looking to be about parallel with your mat. And of course, you can slide the back leg closer to make it a little bit gentler. You can draw it back a little bit further to make it more difficult, or just settle somewhere in the middle here. And again, if this is challenging for you, slide a cushion or pillow underneath your left buttocks. So that's going to give you just a little bit of a lift that will help your hips rotate and turn a little bit more. You can use that cushion underneath your hands, finding the right amount of stretch for you. Maybe folding forward here. And again, more to the side of your knee is going to be a little bit gentler, a little bit easier. Of course, in the middle, kind of middle of the road, and then a little more advanced would be folding closer towards your foot. And here's where we need to be really honest with ourselves and not always striving for that position that we think is more advanced. More advanced or harder doesn't mean that it's better. It's just the position that you might need to go to if your body's more open in that specific stretch. But you really just want to go to the place that's the place that your body needs to be, and that's perfect. Everybody's going to be at a different place, and that's always okay. Lots of times people think if they're not very flexible, they shouldn't do yoga. But I say those are really the people that need the yoga, probably more so than someone who's over flexible in terms of the stretching or the mobility benefit. Of course, the main thing, or one of the most powerful things we're getting from yoga, is the stress relief and the mind control, the ability to relax, the downgrading of our nervous system. The postures are just one way that we can make all of that mind stuff happen. But don't shy away because you know you're not that flexible. Your body could really use that mobility. And especially if you're somebody who's really athletic, you're doing a lot of strength training, you're likely never going to be the yogi who's really flexible because you're doing so many other things with your muscles that are really just causing tightness and tension, and of course building strength. So you need to just be realistic with yourself and be like, hey, it's okay if I'm not the super bendy yogi. I'm really, really strong and I do lots of other physical activities. So everybody has their own amount of stretch. Being more flexible doesn't make you a better yogi. It's just a different kind of yogi. Good, you're gonna stay in this 90-90 stretch, or you're gonna let yourself just kind of roll into pigeon here as you slide the back leg back. And of course you can keep that front leg really nice and parallel, or you can let the foot drop down closer to your groin. And again, that's just dependent on how open your hips are, how it feels in your front knee, making sure that you're not feeling pain there. Staying here for the next couple of breaths. Good, and let's slowly make our way back out of pigeon or out of 90-90. And tuck back into that little ball if you like here. And then come on through and find your way into child's pose. And we're going to finish with just a little bit of movement here before we go back to stillness. So as you come from child's, let's come on up onto our knees and then find your way into cow. So where you're dropping your belly, lifting your tail, lifting your chin. And then let yourself go all the way back to child's pose. Bow your head. And then come on back up and find cow. And go back to child's pose. And one more time, coming into cow. And then let yourself come on back into child's pose, resting here. Taking our final posture of the practice today. And feel free to stay in child's pose as long as your body would like. Thank you so much for joining me today on this lazy day yin yoga practice. I'm Tovah Fenske. Thanks for watching. Namaste.